The man who would become known as Mr. Know the Answer and the Consummate Mechanic was born in the tiny community of Greenbrier, Arkansas, January 1908. Dennis Cantrell spent his boyhood in rural Greenbrier, about 20 miles north of Conway. He attended the local school, which at the time only went to 10th grade. Then he finished high school at the training school of then Arkansas State Teachers College, now the University of Central Arkansas. Cantrell went on to earn a degree in physics at State Teachers College, and one of his first jobs was mechanic for the U.S. Soil Conservation Service in Dallas, Texas. He worked often repairing agriculture planes, crop dusters, and the like. Cantrell was taught to fly in a Commandair in the early 30s, a plane built in Little Rock. Cantrell recalled the first time he ever flew into the Conway City Airport. It was not much more than a converted farm field, and the east-west runway was pretty much surrounded by cornfields. In 1936, Dennis Cantrell and his brother Thomas bought their first airplane, a J-2 Cub. In 1938, not long after learning to fly and building flight time and acquiring his commercial license and aircraft engine mechanic ratings, Cantrell became involved with friends who wanted to encourage the city of Conway to outright buy property they had been leasing for the Conway Aviation Corporation. The purchase was made, and Cantrell took a lead role in building the airport facilities to accommodate aviation training programs. Rumors of war were boiling over in 1939, and Arkansas had been a major hub for training World War I pilots at the then Evarts Field in Lone Oak. With this in mind, Cantrell thought that Conway seemed a good fit for a location. Cantrell knew the government civilian pilot training programs were going to expand, and he wanted Arkansas to be in the forefront of that training, not just for pilots, but for mechanics as well. In October 1940, Cantrell resigned his job with the Soil Conservation Service and returned full-time to his home state, Arkansas. Cantrell sought the help of Arkansas State Teachers College and Hendrix College and got approval for the training programs, but the qualifications for the program required the operator of the program to have at least 2 airplanes available as equipment. Cantrell's friend, Kenneth Starnes, had a Ford trimotor plane and 3 Agri planes that were converted to 2-passenger dual-control planes, and the new venture was off and running, or off and flying as it were. Cantrell became the main mechanic, and later, in 1947, the city of Conway leased the airport to Cantrell, and he established the FAA Aircraft Repair Station. Cantrell considered airplane maintenance and repair as one of the most important parts of any full-service airport. Dennis and his brother Thomas first operated the airport together, establishing Cantrell's Aero Service. As Cantrell had expected, the Second World War had increased the interest in flying and aviation in general, and the GI Bill gave many young men and women the chance for financial assistance for aviation training. Cantrell saw this coming and was in the right place at the right time to make Cantrell's Aero Service known all over the southeastern United States as the premier engine overhaul service, and planes were brought from all over the country to Conway for repairs. Dennis Cantrell held FAA aircraft and power plant and examiner ratings and was counselor in the FAA's Safety Counselor Program, and in 1962 was selected the first FAA Mechanic of the Year. At the time, he was one of only 2 people in the state licensed to give oral and practical examinations to someone wanting to become an A&P mechanic. Cantrell's Aero Service became known across the nation as one of the best aircraft maintenance and repair facilities anywhere. Several longtime mechanics remembered Dennis having a special knack and expertise for repair of magnetos and carburetors. In the late 1960s, Dennis Cantrell received a state license to become a vocational training program to train, educate students in ground school flight courses. Cantrell passed on his love for flying to his children and grandchildren.
I read a little thing about him playing baseball. Caught for 5 years, played every game for 5 years, and never dropped a ball. And that showed me, it just kind of, a lightning bolt came through that's the way he ran the airport and his mechanics that worked on airplanes. Make sure that it's right. It was just life. Our airport every day. If I were in school, come home, you don't go home, you go to the airport. And I didn't know anything else.
The flying was My flying was hysterical looking back on it. He would sit in the right seat or the back seat, depending on which airplane we were flying. If it was the Cub, he was in the back seat because we flew a Super Cub. If we were in the 172 or the 180, he's obviously in the right seat. And he would sit with his arms crossed, and he would ask you to do something, and you did it. And you know, in all the time that I ever flew, I would tell people I'd come in with the Cessna 180, and I'd flare and make a perfect three-point landing, and the tires wouldn't even squeak. And I was really proud of myself, and I'd look over and I said, "Granddad, what do you think?" And he'd say, "Well, if you don't do it any worse than that, I guess you'll be okay." That was the highest compliment you got.
At the end of a day, at the end of a hard day, you'd always go for a flight. That just kind of, if you were having a bad day, you got in the airplane, went flying, and all your troubles just kind of melt away. Do the best you can, and always make sure that you did it right, because working on airplanes, you know, someone's life's in your hands. So that was paramount in his idea.
A longtime pilot recalled that because of the expertise and guidance of Dennis Cantrell for over 40 years, Conway was the place pilots brought their planes for service. Cantrell was recognized as a brilliant mechanic who led by example and whose teaching paved the way for hundreds of future airplane mechanics. Dennis Cantrell retired in 1986 from the old Conway Airport, named in his honor years before, since he had helped bring a cornfield to prominence in Arkansas aviation history. He died in 2002 at the age of 94. The new Conway Regional Airport west of Conway also bears his name, as another generation perpetuated the honor to this man, as witness to his hard work and determination to make Arkansas a leader in aviation. As Dennis Cantrell flies into aviation history, he has earned his place in the Arkansas Aviation Hall of Fame.